Throwaway account because my girlfriend and adopted brother both read my main. I'm a 28-year-old guy. My girlfriend Lily is 27, and my adopted brother Evan is 25. Evan entered our family at 14 after bouncing through 6 foster homes in 3 years, so my parents tried hard to make him feel rooted. I tried too, but adolescence is selfish, and by the time we were adults, we operated more like distant cousins. Polite hugs at holidays, the occasional meme in the family group chat. Little else. Still, when someone eats at your table for a decade, you feel sure they aren't sharpening knives under it. Lily and I met during an agency boot camp 3 years ago. She was intern coordinator. I was the tired copywriter who brought burnt coffee to morning stand-ups. She laughed at my first joke, left me sticky notes shaped like dinosaurs, and 6 weeks later, we were inseparable. We moved in together after a year, learned each other's grocery quirks, argued about duvet covers, built a tiny world that felt sturdy. The running fantasy was a long weekend at Lake Meridian. It's one of those places that trend on Instagram for a season and then vanish back into local lore. Mirror still water, pine-framed coves, cabins with crooked porch lights. We wanted to unplug, cook over fire, and, in my secret agenda, try out a discreet proposal. Ring box hidden in my camera bag, insurance receipt tucked into my wallet. 2 nights before departure, Lily called from her office. Her tone carried that bubbly guilt she used whenever she asked me to do the dishes after I'd just done them. She said Evan was overwhelmed, that he'd been working doubles, and wouldn't it be nice if he joined us? She promised he'd crash in the loft and go fly fishing at dawn while we slept in. I hesitated. She pressed. I caved. The next morning, Evan texted thanking me, adding a fist bump emoji I'd never seen him use. He offered to split gas. I said sure. Friday, we loaded Lily's hatchback. Evan hopped in back. Lily navigated. I drove. She cued a road trip playlist heavy on his favorite alt bands. Every time I joked about her steering us into a sonic time warp, she defended the tracks, saying they were nostalgic. She peered at Evan in the rear view to gauge his enjoyment. I tried to ignore the odd allegiance forming around an aux cord. The cabin was better than the photos. Cedar walls, dock jutting straight into the lake, a grill so clean it looked staged. Inside, one master with a king bed, a loft with twin bunks, and a screened porch. Lily tossed our duffel onto the king, then called up that Evan could totally take it if he wanted. He laughed it off. I noted the offer, filed it under suspicious hospitality. That night we cooked burgers. Lily flitted between grill and picnic table, asking Evan's advice on seasoning, even though she and I had perfected our spice mix months ago. We ate, opened beers, and lit the fire pit. Evan told a story about high school detention. Lily's laugh spilled across the clearing, big and free. The laugh used to be mine. When I reached for her hand, she slipped it into her hoodie pocket. At midnight, I woke to floorboards whining above, low voices. I checked my phone, 12:23 a.m. I listened. Lily said something I couldn't catch. Evan chuckled. Then hush, hush, creak, silence. I lay there until sunrise, staring at the ceiling fan, trying to spin the noises into something innocent. Morning smacked me with confirmation. I stepped onto the dock, half awake, and saw Lily sitting between Evan's legs while he braided her hair. They jerked apart like magnets repelled. Lily stammered about just fixing a knot. I swallowed acid and suggested a hike, just Lily and me. She countered that group hikes were healthier, less pressure. We all went. Up the ridge trail they walked shoulder to shoulder, whispers leaking like steam. I kicked stones ahead of me, planning contingencies I never thought I'd need. That evening, Lily proposed a movie marathon. Evan offered to run into town for popcorn and soda. He took my keys and left. Lily curled beside me on the couch. For a minute, I thought maybe the morning had been misunderstanding. Then her phone buzzed with a text preview. Evan, can't wait to see that smile again. She grabbed the phone too fast. The illusion popped like a soap bubble. I didn't blow up. I said I was tired and headed to bed. Instead, I stood in the dark hallway, listening while she typed for 20 straight minutes. Around 2 a.m., I slipped out, climbed the dock ladder, and sat with feet in the water. The lake reflected moon shards, calm surface lying about everything underneath. I heard footsteps. Lily appeared, hoodie zipped. She asked why I was up. I said insomnia. She sat. We talked about nothing. At one point she said, "You trust me, right?" My tongue went numb. I nodded before I knew what I'd done. She kissed my cheek, whispered, "Love you," and went back inside. I stared at the ripple rings her feet had left until they vanished. Sunday dawned bright. Lily packed a picnic basket and suggested renting the small pontoon out front. She said she had a surprise spot she'd read about online. Evan seconded the idea. I agreed and silently reshuffled my plans. While Lily made sandwiches, I retrieved my phone tripod and wedge-mounted it inside our hard cooler, lens aligned with a thumb-sized hole near the latch. I hit record and covered it with beer cans. The mic wouldn't be great, but I only needed images. On the lake, I piloted until we reached a narrow inlet. Lily pointed toward a rocky alcove. I feigned forgetfulness, claiming I'd left my Bluetooth speaker back at the dock and couldn't imagine lunch without our playlist. Lily volunteered to go, but I insisted she relax. I'd swim back, grab it, and return. I'm a decent swimmer. Quarter-mile round trip sounded plausible. I dove in, but instead of heading straight, I angled behind reeds and treaded water. The boat drifted. When I was sure they couldn't see me, I pulled out a waterproof monocular, a gift from my dad, focused on the deck, and waited. Evan opened the cooler for a drink. He froze when he noticed the lens. Then he laughed, thinking it a forgotten GoPro mount. He shut the lid without suspicion. Lily scooted next to him. Dialogue carried over water faintly. Snippets like, "He's clueless. After the trip. Feels so right." Then the kiss. Confident. Practiced. She climbed onto his lap, hands in his hair, sandwich forgotten. My stomach cramped, but my brain stayed icy. I kicked slowly to keep position. 10 minutes later, I swam a wide circle, came up at the ladder panting theatrically. They separated, fussed over towels, asked if I was cold. I lied about a cramp delaying me. Lily offered to pilot while I warm up. I sipped beer, pretending everything was fine, deep-freezing expressions for later use. Back at the cabin, they both showered. Separately, allegedly. I transferred the video to my laptop and watched the silent file. The kiss filled the frame, unambiguous. My hands shook, but the shaking soon merged into a steadier rhythm, the rhythm of planning. I started with communications. I searched Lily's phone for passwords. She stored them in notes. I forwarded myself logins for Instagram, Facebook, and the joint vacation album we'd set up for friends. I did the same with Evans, whose phone was easier. No passcode because he trusted us. Next came alibis. Using Lily's phone, I texted our parents' group chat that reception was terrible and we might be offline until Monday night. That bought me a day. Finally, transportation. I removed the distributor fuse from Lily's car. It wouldn't start without it. My own car key was still in my pocket, unseen by Evan after his popcorn run. Monday pre-dawn, I loaded essentials into my trunk, replaced the fuse, and drove away while the cabin slept. I left a note on the kitchen counter that read only, "Needed space. Back tonight." They'd assume normal couple tension and blame me for disappearing, which aligned perfectly with what came next. I checked into a roadside motel with industrial Wi-Fi. I edited a concise highlight reel. Lily straddling Evan, both smiling, her hand on his cheek. The kiss. I muted audio for maximum impact. I uploaded it unlisted to a cloud drive and copied the link. At noon, I scheduled an email blast. Subject line for transparency. Recipients. Both our families, close friends, 2 coworkers who gossiped fastest, and Evan's old youth pastor who still mailed him birthday cards. Body. The attached footage explains why I won't be reachable for a while. Please don't ask for details. Scheduled send 6 p.m. Afternoon. I visited my lawyer cousin. Over coffee, I asked hypothetical questions about leases and shared property. She outlined my rights, half the furniture, any items I'd purchased, no obligation to stay on the lease if I provided 60-day notice. I drafted a notice letter, signed, scanned, and queued it to deliver overnight with signature confirmation so Lily couldn't claim ignorance. At 5:45 p.m., I called Lake Patrol anonymously and said I'd heard arguing and then silence from a pontoon near Inlet 3, feared a domestic disturbance. They dispatched a boat. 10 minutes later, my scheduled emails fired. While Lily and Evan explained themselves to law enforcement, everyone they cared about watched them betray me in HD. The timing was art. Backlash was immediate. Lily's sister, a graphic designer with a spiteful streak, posted a side-by-side meme. One frame of me holding Lily's hand last Christmas, the other of her sitting on Evan in the boat, captioned, "Spot the difference." It went mildly viral among our hometown crowd. Evan's gamer friends kicked him from their Discord server. My phone vibrated for hours with sympathetic messages. I muted them all. Tuesday morning, I delivered my resignation to HR alongside a thumb drive I've labeled Conflict of Interest Evidence. I explained Lily and Evan's hidden relationship and how it overlapped with vendor contracts Evan handled. HR thanked me, asked me to keep quiet while they conducted an internal review. I happily agreed. Silence was turning out to be my sharpest blade. Wednesday, movers cleared my half of the apartment. I left Lily's belongings untouched except for small neon stickers on each item I'd bought. Couch, coffee maker, television. A printed inventory sat on the kitchen island with the note, "Keeping what's mine." Taped beside it was a color still from the video, time-stamped. That evening, Lily arrived to an echoing apartment. She called me 12 times, left 4 voicemails escalating from pleading to rage to sobbing. I saved them to a new folder titled Emotional Weather Forecasts and blocked her number. The HR review wrapped faster than I expected. Lily was demoted and barred from supervising freelancers for a year. Evan's contract was terminated without prejudice. But the phrase fooled no one. Agencies talk, and soon his inbox looked like a desert. With rent doubled and income halved, Lily tried selling the couch online. I messaged the buyer, warned them of bedbugs, a lie, but the buyer backed out, and Lily's listing expired. Weeks passed. Mutual friends chose sides. My side collected evidence. Theirs tried to justify passion. Turns out passion looks less noble when rent is late and job prospects vanish. My parents invited Evan to Sunday dinner to talk. He arrived alone, asked for forgiveness, cited abandonment trauma. Said loving Lily felt like finally being chosen first. Dad listened, then said love built on betrayal was just fear wearing perfume. Mom packed Evan a casserole and told him to leave it on a neighbor's porch because they didn't want the scent in their fridge. That summary came from my sister. I didn't attend. 2 months out, I adopted a border collie puppy. Training her became therapy with paw pads. Sunrise jogs replaced insomnia loops. I signed the offer from a rival agency, remote position, salary bump, fresh start. Around month 3, Lily emailed from a new address. Subject, last attempt. She wrote 5 paragraphs about dreams shattered, therapy sessions revealing childhood wounds, realizations that Evan was a mirror for her insecurities. She asked if I could meet for closure coffee. I replied with a single sentence, "Closure is what you say to the locked door after you walk away." Then I blocked the address and fed my dog. Sometimes I wonder if my revenge went too far. But revenge, contrary to cliches, isn't cold. It burns precisely the bridges that should never carry traffic again. Justice is hot glass shaped into a boundary. A friend asked what I'd say if Lily showed up on my doorstep tomorrow, begging forgiveness. I said I'd tell her our story ended at 6:07 p.m., the night the Lake Patrol radio crackled with her name while my parents pressed replay on her kiss. That moment fossilized any chance of return. You can't resurrect trust. CPR doesn't work on ashes. If you're reading this because you feel unease gnawing at your gut, check the cooler. Plant the camera. Protect your peace. And when the truth surfaces, let consequences do the talking. Mine spoke louder than any shouted confrontation could have. I haven't spoken to Evan or Lily since. I doubt I ever will. That's not bitterness. It's boundary. The human heart is a finite room. I evicted 2 tenants who set fire to the drapes. Now there's space for better guests. 6 months after the cabin implosion, a mutual college friend, Jason, got married. He asked if I felt comfortable attending because Lily and Evan were on the original guest list. I told him to do whatever made the seating chart easiest. I'd be there, no drama, dog hair brushed off the tux. Jason quietly uninvited them after Lily messaged his fiancée, begging not to face me. I learned Lily claimed the sight of me would trigger a panic attack. Funny how the person who detonated the bomb calls everyone else shrapnel. The reception turned into my unofficial comeback tour. People who'd watched the video in those first brutal minutes approached with gentle curiosity, buying me beers, asking if I'd started dating again. I kept it light. Puppy pictures, work stories, a vague, futures open answer. Around midnight, Jason pulled me aside and said Evan had texted him that afternoon from a rehab clinic out west. Apparently, my adopted brother had spiraled into prescription pills after his freelance income dried up. Part of me wished him sobriety. The rest hoped distance remained permanent. That fall, I finally opened the ring box I'd planned to use at Lake Meridian. I'd forgotten the design, simple white gold, small oval stone Lily had admired in a jeweler's window. I carried the box onto my building's roof and watched the city lights flicker against a coal-colored sky. Then I flung the ring as hard as I could into the night. Maybe it landed on asphalt, maybe a pigeon nest. Either way, it landed someplace that wasn't my pocket, and that felt right. Symbolic gestures are weird until you actually perform them. Afterward, their anchors cut loose. Not long after, Lily's mother reached out through my sister, asking if I could share the raw phone footage for closure. I refused. The video was evidence, not entertainment. Lily's mom followed up saying the family wanted to understand the full context. Context is the refuge of people allergic to accountability. I shut down the request. During winter, I found a therapist who specialized in betrayal trauma. She taught me the value of naming realities out loud. One exercise was listing every loss inflicted by Lily and Evan, tangible and intangible, time, trust, shared holidays, a future child's uncle. The list filled 2 pages. Then she asked me to list what I'd gained: self-respect, upgraded bullshit radar, the ability to leave when boundaries crack. The gains list ran longer. That was the first session I walked out grinning. By spring, my dog, Nova, could heel off leash. We spent weekends on hiking trails miles from cellular towers. One Sunday, we crossed paths with a couple arguing about whose turn it was to carry the water pack. 10 paces later, the woman said, loudly enough, "At least I'm not cheating on you with your brother." The man sputtered. Nova looked up as if to say, "Déjà vu." I laughed so hard I had to sit on a fallen log. Last update. Call it epilogue if you want. A month ago, HR at Lily's company forwarded me an email she had sent them. An official request for a reference regarding her application elsewhere. HR asked if I had any objections since Lily would technically work with one of my current clients. I replied professionally, "No objection provided full disclosure of prior conflict is included." They copied Lily on their response and summarized my statement. She never replied. The prospective employer apparently withdrew the offer 2 days later. Reputation is a boomerang. I'm not rejoicing in their misery. I'm observing it like weather. It exists whether I comment or not. My revenge was never about making them suffer indefinitely. It was about ending the part of the story where their choices damaged me. Everything after that is consequence, cause and effect, dominoes they set in motion before I ever opened my laptop. Peace achieved.